Great to be back in the People's House. There are so many great memories I have in this building. I served nearly 10 years in a couple of different capacities, and I couldn't help but think when I walked in the door, the time that I spent in the House, walked in 2013, representing an 80-20 district in Forsyth County. That's 80% Republican district in Forsyth County, and learning the process of how to pass a bill, working with my colleagues on both sides of the aisle to take on organized crime, to help rural hospitals. Then I think about the time that I decided to run for lieutenant governor. And many people in this state said I was too conservative to actually be a statewide elected official. But by the grace of God, we won that election, and we worked for 4 tough years. We worked across the aisle, worked with Leader Butler and others to bring meaningful legislation forward. We passed over 50 bipartisan health care bills. We took on COVID reform, and we passed a very important hate crimes piece of legislation. There's also some tough memories in this building I've got. We were second guessed on COVID almost every minute of every day from the White House, specifically Donald Trump. Lies, conspiracy theories around the 2020 election, so much so that I had to have armed guards around my office and my home, around my family, just to fight off the fact I didn't admit that the election was rigged, because it wasn't. Fake electors sat just a few feet from us, sat in a room and tried to usurp democracy. And then the unfortunate events of January 6th showed up, and sitting in this building watching those events play out were a huge part of why I'm standing here today. All of those tough memories seem to track back to one person, and one person only, and that's Donald Trump. Going against the grain as a Republican and supporting Democrat Joe Biden for president is not easy. But I'm not looking at this election through the lens of being a Republican. I'm looking through the lens of being an American that cares more about the future of my country than the moral bankrupt nominee of my party. There are political ramifications to this decision, but they pale in comparison to 4 more years of Donald Trump, both home and abroad. Let me speak directly to the millions of Republicans across the country who are tired of making excuses for Donald Trump's behavior at their churches, in their offices, and at their own kitchen tables. Enough is enough. The nightmare has to end, and it has to end now. It's time for us to purge Donald Trump from our system. Let's take the next 4 years as Republicans and build and heal a new party, a GOP 2.0, a party that finds leaders that are willing to embrace conservative principles and work across the aisle, leaders that understand the value of civility and compromise, that once again value honesty and integrity. A party that uses policy, empathy, and tone to work across that aisle, to gain majorities, to talk about issues. Use it as our North Star. The last 4 years have been difficult for our family, the journey, but a journey that's been worth traveling. There have been so many folks over the last 4 years, nearly 4 years, Republicans specifically, that have come up and offered words of encouragement, that have quietly sent notes, have praised the notion of saying and doing the right thing. It's my time to ask a favor of all those thousands and thousands of Republicans across the country who've given us words of encouragement. I have an ask. My ask is this: it is your time to do the right thing. Don't give Donald Trump 4 more years to continue to destroy this country.
Welcome to the show, everybody. It's Same Cast, Different Day podcast. I'm Martel Roland.
And I'm Tina.
So I just wanted to play that clip as soon as the show started because that's how you know how bad things would be if somebody from the Republican Party comes out, does a press conference about supporting Joe Biden as the next president of the United States, or the president for next 4 years. So all I have to say is way to go. And hopefully more Republicans come out, supporting Donald Trump and not, not support Joe Biden and not supporting Donald Trump's crusade that he has going on for power. Because Tina had recently sent me a video, not a video, it was an article about Trump 25. But before we get into Trump 25,
It's called Project 25. Project 2025.
Project 2025. I want to talk about the Republican debate. And I had forgot that the debate had came on, so I had caught it like towards the end after the last commercial break. And the fact that I didn't need to go online and fact check him and knew that he was lying about half the stuff he was saying was just crazy. Even though, like, right after the the debate went off, there was already clips online I think one of the ones I saw was CNN, and they had fact checked Donald Trump and all his major key points that he basically was making about Joe Biden and how Russia has taken so much land and all this kind of stuff. It was all a lie. Every single thing they
Shocking.
most of his bullet points that he tried to say was basically lies.
Shocking.
And the one thing that stood out to me the most, and I have a clip for it. And this is the one thing that stood out to me the most. So I'm like, did he just really say that? So I'm going to play the clip for y'all.
The fact is that his big kill on the black people is the millions of people that he's allowed to come in through the border. They're taking black jobs now, and it could be 18, it could be 19, and even 20 million people. They're taking black jobs, and they're taking Hispanic jobs, and you haven't seen it yet, but you're going to see something that's going to be the worst in our history.
Thank you.
Y'all know the internet is not going to fail us. Look at the list. Oh, my God. Y'all got to see Last Tech. I'm weak. Come on now. Hype Man. Oh, selling plates. Where does it Look at 37. Sexy Red. I'm weak as fuck. I can't. Oh, Jesus. Get it together, fool. The Popeyes cashier. Come up.
Okay.
You know, black people don't take nothing seriously.
They don't take nothing serious, but the fact that he said black jobs and Hispanic jobs, at first, I was like, what is a black job? Like, I didn't know that was a thing, like a black job and a Hispanic job, but we already know what a lot of Hispanics do, which is picking fruits and construction. But the point is, I didn't know it was such a thing as black jobs. So, and then when they had, I guess, black people when they created a list of black jobs, and you saw CNA, NFL cornerback, like all kinds of just stuff. But it was just the fact that this man went on national television and really said black job.
Well, so my take from that is, I'm gonna dive a little deeper, right? So you're not gonna tell me that he was pushing the whole building of this wall on the Mexican border because he was worried about immigrants taking black jobs.
They gonna tell me that that was why you was building that wall.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Mm. So there's that. But yeah, that was interesting. I mean, you know what? I didn't get a chance to watch the debate because I quite honestly didn't know it was on. I was busy doing other things. But when I woke up the next morning, child, the blogs was in shambles. I didn't even have to watch it.
And then
Blogs was in shambles.
it was, and then on top of that, like the fact that he was like, well, Biden had made the point where he was trying to work with Republicans about securing the border, and they kept shutting it down. They kept shutting it down. The idea of him securing the border was because of Donald Trump's going on TV or on Twitter and all these other things talking about don't support Joe Biden's bill. And Joe Biden was like, well, hey, I had this bill in place, to stop, to stop drugs from coming in from Mexico and from Korea and all these other places the drug was coming from. He's like, I wanted to buy these machines that can screen things, and they can screen, to detect drugs, in like packages and all this other kind of stuff. So that way, they can't basically ship drugs over here. And here goes Donald Trump telling them, no, we're not going to agree to that. You shouldn't agree to that. Basically, I feel like the plan that Joe Biden put forward, as far as like the whole U.S. Mexico border, Donald Trump wants, the Republicans to strike down whatever, but Joe Biden had planned for it. And then I feel like if Trump was to get reelected into office, the same exact plan that Joe Biden was going to try to do, Trump is going to try to do to make it seem like it was his idea.
Of course. But I will tell you on the blogs after people watched that debate, there was a lot of support for Biden when I was reading the comments. Still some support for Trump, but not as much as um before the debate. People was just the fact that he said they're gonna take immigrants and taking black jobs, like that's all they needed to hear.
I mean, that, and it's just a lot of stuff he was saying. He was like, if Biden stays in office, he's going to create World War III. He said that Biden spent like $6 billion on trying to get people hostages. He said when I was negotiating to get hostages back, I didn't have to pay anybody. I didn't have to pay nothing. Like, sir, what did you really negotiate, first of all? And then second
There was
of
some
all,
hostages.
That's also because I don't remember no hostages being hostage at the time where Trump was in office. And if it was a hostage that was over in Russia, Putin are friends. You're friends. So you're not gonna sit here and tell me that you didn't have to pay no money. Of course you did. If somebody was under a hostage and you didn't have to pay any money, it's because you and Putin are friends. And then he was talking about how Russia is taking land and all this kind of stuff. Russia took land under the Bush administration. Russia took land from, I guess, other countries under the Obama administration. It didn't happen under mine, but so it happened under everybody else administration besides his. And I'm just like, this man trying to feed the general public a bunch of bull.
He probably giving them something other than land that they want, and probably the other presidents wouldn't give in. Yeah. So the other presidents probably didn't give in to the demands, and then that's where it came from. That's when the conflict came from, more than I can think of, because he sat up there and said that he wasn't in cahoots or in bed with Russia, and then he be kicking it with Putin.
Exactly. So it was a lot of line, like even with the whole January 6th thing, and the fact that he wouldn't answer the question that if after the November election, and he did not win. He didn't win the seat, and he did not become president of the United States. He didn't win the election. Will he accept the results of the elections? And for 5 to 6 minutes, he refused to answer that question. And the fact that he said that he had better places to be, like he could be on a golf course somewhere, and all these other things. He said, I didn't have to be here, but I saw how Joe Biden was running this country into the ground, and he was going to make it a third world country. So that's why, I decided to run for president again. I'm like, but for a person who didn't root, so to me, it's like you don't care about being president, is what you're saying to me. But back in 2020, when you lost the election, you did all these lawsuits. You were trying to do everything possible to overturn the results of the election. So if being a president really don't matter to you, why are you running for president again?
Because it's a deeper agenda, and I'm glad now it's kind of coming forth with the whole Project 2025 thing. Like
I don't have that
that's
because you sent it to me in a text message, and I ain't got it. Hold on.
okay.
I can't pull it up on
Well,
the computer. Let's see.
okay. I mean, I can always talk about it. So I will say there's two different
Oh,
versions of
okay.
it. Um, and
So
when I
it
mean
said,
versions, go
oh, you
ahead.
got it on your thing? No, I got it right. It said, here's a taste of Trump's Project 2025. It
Right.
says,
So disclaimer, there's two different versions. So it's the actual Project 2025 website, and then Biden has a website also that kind of like pulls out
highlights
the
it.
ulterior motives of Project
Mhm.
2025. But I felt like when I went to the original website, it was even more messed up, just the way that it was worded than how it said on Biden's website. But you go ahead. I'm gonna pull up the actual website. You talk about
Uh,
what Biden said.
so I got it on it's on JoeBiden.com. And it says, here are the takeaways from Trump's Project 2025. Take away reproductive freedoms nationwide. Use the presidency for revenge on Trump's political and personal enemies. Terminate the Constitution. Consolidate powers in the Oval Office. Gut democratic checks and balances on presidential power. Give handouts to the ultra wealthy paid by working families, which I do got a video for y'all to talk about that. And it says much and much, much more.
Crazy, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm on heritage.org, okay? And I believe this is the company or the foundation that is behind organizing Project 2025. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what they're doing is a policy book that's going to be published called Mandate for Leadership. Um, I believe it is stemming from, I'm trying to look for to see which president it was. I don't know if it started in like the Reagan administration. Um, so don't quote me on that. But these are things that um, basically the Republican Party has been putting and piecing together for years. So let me see. So basically, they want to like what it said in the Biden administration. What happened?
Oh no, also I was just repeat offender, which I know who it is, my cousin. He was like, "What is a
Oh,
black job?" And they was talking about CNAs, football players, construction was one of them. Working at the Waffle House, working at Popeyes. They said that some people labeling those as black jobs.
so the people that are like the heads of the Project 2025, I believe one was Speaker of the House for Trump. Like they were all in the Trump administration. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I know the head of it is he was the Speaker of the House. Okay. Um, So that right there kind of creeped me out. And then when I was reading through the website, they were like, "Oh, we got to save the country from the radical left, something, something, something," and like they were just going into all of this extra stuff, and I was just like, "Okay, this is or the far right." I'm sorry, like
Mm-hmm.
this was. I was like, "Oh my God, that's for real, right?" So it's like what they're trying to do. They made this book. They're going to publish this book, and it's supposed to have like these pillars that they're supposed to follow. So I feel like it's going to be kind of like in waves, right? So they're going to
Mm-hmm.
start with wave one, and they're going to continue until they get to their end goal. So that's why I'm like, this. I feel like Trump is. I don't want to say a passion. What is it called when somebody is just a face but doesn't make up the ideas? Like
Uh,
he's the face for the Republican Party, right? Because they feel like he has the skill
I mean,
set
like a
to
puppet.
convince people. Yes. So I feel like he's a puppet for ultimately what their ideals are. He's not really coming up with any of these ideals. They put him in that position to convince the general public that to follow because he's very convincing. He's a businessman, right? So
Mm-hmm.
he can be very convincing. He's had time in the public, as far as, he know how marketing goes. Like it's just to me, it's like a
Uh,
scheme. It's a whole
and
marketing
then,
scheme.
oh, it's not gonna show, but they have it highlighted in red too for some of the stuff that he's trying to do, far as his revenge things.
Right. So, but so when I was reading it on their page, like this is going to be a long process because they're trying to basically take back the country from the Democrats. And I'm like, that's not even what this is about. Like now in my head, I'm thinking like Civil War type of, you
Yeah,
know what I'm
but
saying?
so like when you
Things.
say take back the country for the Democrats, here's the thing: majority right now is Republicans. That is majority, right? Republicans rule mostly everything right now. We have most of the states are Republican-led states. So what do you mean take back the country from the Democrats? And I feel like they knew because within I think that they had a last election where senators and stuff had to get voted for, and a lot of people were voting Democrat because once again they're sick of these policies that Republicans are putting together. This is the man that's basically saying on day one as president, he's going to be a dictator as day one. As soon as he's elected, he's going to become a dictator. He claims if he loses, it's going to be a bloodbath. He threatens to prosecute political opponents if he wins another term. He says what else did he says? He threatens to deport protesters for exercising their right to free speech. He also shared online videos that call for violence against journalists in Unified. What else did he say? He has threatened to defund law enforcement agencies and go after law officers who dare to stand in his way.
Yeah. So basically, if Trump get reelected, all of this goes and all of this whole plan is implemented when he's elected, if he gets reelected.
And then
Excuse
it's,
me.
and then it also says he plans to fire and replace independent uh, civil servants across the government
Yep.
with extreme mega
Lawyers,
loyalty.
loyalists. Yep. Hmm.
Um, he wants to what else was there? Trump plans to bring historically independent agencies directly under his control, including the Department of Justice. Uh, He wants to dismantle key departments of the executive branch, including the Department of Education.
Yep.
He wants to, what else it says? In 2016, Trump infamously said you have to ban abortions and that there has to be some form of punishment for women who get them. He said he plans on following through with their promises. Donald Trump is probably responsible for overturning the Roe versus Wade, ripping women's whipping women's rights away from the right to get basically have an abortion. Um, Trump owns every single attack on reproductive health care, from abortions to assault on birth control and stopping IVF treatments across the country. Take it from Trump himself, these bans were only made possible because I deliver everything as promised.
Yeah. He also wants to eliminate Head Start programs. He wants to restrict LGBTQ plus rights, um,
Hmm.
and remove diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives from federal programs. He wants to reinstate the Comstock Act, which limits mail order abortion pills. Um, what else is it? Halting the expansion of electrical grid for wind and solar energy. Um, it's a lot.
It's
Like you
let's
already.
see. Yes, he wants to make it. He wants to make it easier to buy a gun than access some birth control and reproductive care. He wants to criminalize the shipping of abortion medication. He wants to building a surveillance state to track women and healthcare providers. Uh, Use the power of the federal government to crack down on reproductive freedoms nationally. And the thing is, here's the thing, like, so now he wants to get rid of HIPAA also, because to basically to track what a woman is doing with her health and providers, that's basically means that you want to get rid of HIPAA laws, which means now everybody's personal health care information is just going to be out there for anybody to just basically go and read and figure out what's going on with a person. Like, what is I don't know what this man is thinking at this point. Like, cocaine has to be one hell of a drug that he's doing.
I don't even think it's drugs, man. It's the audacity. It's the audacity. It's the privilege, right?
Right.
It's that whole thought process. Like it's the thought that it's like they're going to get rid of democracy. It
Mm-hmm.
will be a dictatorship,
Mm-hmm.
and then everybody think the country going to hell in a handbasket now. Then potentially we're all going to be we. It's like they're eliminating free will.
Right.
We won't be able to do or make choices for a lot of things. We won't have access to federal programs will need it. Like, how you gonna try to dissolve the Department of Education? That don't even make any sense.
And if you dissolve the Department of Education, it means everybody's going to have to go through private banks to get these loans. It's already bad hard enough to pay off a loan from the Department of Education. So I can only imagine getting a loan from an actual bank to try to go to school. So now you're going to have, this next generation of people. You're not going to have lawyers. You're not going to have doctors. You're not going to have healthcare providers. Like, a lot of jobs that do require you to have a degree, if the Department of Education is not there to provide them services, then how are you going to have your next doctor or your next lawyer or your next nurse or any of these type of
But
critical things that we need?
but that's the point. That's how they control people, right? So only people that come from families that can afford it would get these type of educations, right? This is how it was
Hmm.
back in the day. So the same way slaves were forbidden to learn how to read,
Right.
right? So it kind of all go back to that, and it's so crazy where we already got. Is he a governor? Is a governor of Florida with the book ban?
Ron DeSantis, yeah.
Okay, so he attacking education at a state level. They would be attacking education at a federal level. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And that's a terrible spot for our country to be in. If
It really
anything,
is.
I feel like education and healthcare should be free.
Yeah, like over some other countries, like they say, like right now, like they pay. Well, I don't know what our national, far as federal taxes. I don't know how much the rate is, but I know it isn't as much as theirs. But overseas, I forgot what country it is. They pay like 30 some percent taxes. But within that 30% taxes, they get what I mean. They still paying for the service, the way they go through the taxes, but out of their taxes, they don't have to worry about, schooling. I believe even going to college is free. Healthcare, they have universal healthcare. Healthcare is free. Childcare is free. So anything you could possibly need to go to work, to basically just go to work and live, it's free.
And I wouldn't mind paying 30% in taxes if I don't have to worry about paying for any of that stuff. Because in reality, what I'm paying over $600 a month for healthcare, and it's like we're healthy. You know what I'm saying? So it's like that money is just
You're
going
you're
to
you're,
the insurance company, and I'm not using it.
you paying for something just in case something happened, like car insurance. Car insurance is the biggest scam, but that's a whole nother topic. Uh,
So yeah, I would definitely play for free childcare, free healthcare, and free education. You know, when it comes down to it being 30% of my income, I wouldn't care.
and then speaking of taxes, and this is Donald Trump's thing. So I believe this man is Asian, but he said he did a breakdown of like Donald Trump's tax plan that even the Republicans thought was stupid. So I want to play that clip for y'all.
If Trump wins the next election, it will cost the average American household $5,000 extra in taxes.
That dude,
If Trump wins the next election, it will cost the average American household $5,000 extra in taxes. Trust me, I'm Asian and I'm a data scientist. I actually did the math.
And yesterday, Donald Trump met with some of the top CEOs in the country, and we actually learned that Trump proposed cutting taxes for corporations and wealthy Americans, among other ideas.
I don't know why half this country cucks this jackass trying to cut taxes for himself like he's even gonna be around to enjoy it. He's fucking going to jail. Why are you bothering to make him president? Like, I don't fucking understand.
Trump basically wants to fully extend those 2017 cuts. He wants to see the corporate tax rate at 21%, and reportedly even a little bit lower than that, according to what he told some of those CEOs yesterday. He also wants to extend tax cuts for the wealthiest Americans, and he's even thrown out some pretty unusual ideas like tariffs on all U.S. imports, possibly even substituting tariffs for an income tax, which is something a lot of economists I'm talking to say would be really challenging.
I'm tired of people using fancy words to make dumb shit sound smarter than it actually is. Like, he wants to tax all the shit that you buy in order to cover the taxes that the rich people and corporations already owe off of the money that they made off of you.
Trump had another closed-door meeting on his calendar while he was in D.C., back at the Capitol for the first time, or Capitol Hill for the first time since the January 6th attack. He spoke to a group of business leaders while in town. Among the big names there, Tim Cook, Jamie Dimon, and CNBC's Brian Schwartz reports that Mr. Trump told the group of CEOs that he would cut personal and corporate taxes and slash business regulations if he wins in November.
So, like, let me get this straight. For the last 100 years, the government has been taking shit out of your paycheck as income tax, and everybody was supposed to pay that shit, but like over time, they started bribing the government to give them fucking loopholes. And now all of a sudden, normal people can't afford to fucking live, and so they're like, damn, we can't squeeze any more money out of middle class and lower class Americans. Let's just get rid of the tax rate and make everybody pay the same tax on fucking orange juice. And in your head, if you're stupid, you might think, oh yeah, that sounds fairer than a progressive tax, you know, like everybody's paying the same tax.
Trump wants to eliminate the income tax and replace it with tariffs without realizing this is a policy that would severely damage the poor and middle class. If you're not familiar, tariffs are basically taxes we charge on imported goods. Over the last 5 years, it's been between $40 and $120 billion per year in tariff revenue. For the past 5 to 10 years, we've gotten about $3 to $5 trillion in total tax revenue per year. And guess how much of that comes from the income tax? Half.
To this day, I don't know how the fuck the dumbest person in this country became president of the United States, but doesn't know the difference between the number 3 and fucking 2. It's like, hold on, someone told him the word tariff, and it's like, I don't know what that is, but it sounds right. Let's just put a tariff on everything. That'll cover the $2 trillion in taxes that we owe in income. And it's like, we only bought $3 trillion worth of shit. What are you gonna tax me on $3 trillion to cover $2 trillion? Like, are you gonna make my iPhone cost like $6 grand? Like, is a fucking Honda Civic gonna cost me $70K? Like, how the fuck are you taxing me close to 100% on the shit that I spend to cover the bills? Like, what the?
I felt that man's frustration, and when he at the end of that, and when you think about it, like you said, like an iPhone is gonna cost $6,000, you're gonna pay $70,000 for a Honda Civic. It's like you're gonna make it unlivable for middle class and lower class Americans to be able to survive in this country. Like, why would you say, oh yeah, the millionaires and billionaires are not going to pay taxes at all, and then instead of to make up for that tax debt, we're going to charge, do a tariff tax on everything, and then make, you know, make the middle class and lower class people somehow be able to come up with what he said, $2 to $3 trillion. I don't even think it's enough. It's not even enough Americans working right now. They can cover, not enough middle class Americans, right? That's working right now that can cover, $2 to $3 trillion in income tax revenue. Like, make it make sense. And then it's crazy because you have heard of some of these CEOs saying, I really, like me paying that what I'm supposed to pay in taxes, I'm not going to miss it. I'm not really going to notice that money is gone. So it's like, why do we need this? Why do you think that this is a good idea? I just,
It's not a good idea. It's not a good idea. It's stupid. All of it is stupid. He don't know what he's talking about. He just saying yes. Like I said again, he a puppet, right?
mm-hmm.
He don't really understand what that's going to mean because he not poor. When was the last time he was poor? You get what I'm saying? Like, when was the last time? Like, I don't know if his parents were working middle class or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like, I don't understand it.
the last time he was poor is when his dad was like, pow, right in the pussy. That was the last time he was poor. That's the only thing I can think of. That's the last time, like I said, Donald Trump don't know nothing about being poor. The fact that he wants to throw the whole entire, burden of this country having money to be able to run this country on the middle class and lower class people is just fucking ridiculous. And he needs to be stopped. At some point, this man needs to be stopped before we have to act a fool.
It's definitely gonna be some type of riot.
And I have
Let me go buy a new phone now.
Right. I have a video message from a TikTok user that I feel like a lot of African American people need to see and hear. So I'm going to play that video.
I don't know who needs to hear this, so I'm going to speak to my black people because we need to have a conversation. Stay with me. The work of the previous administration is reflected in the current administration. Remember that. Most of you all around my age, so I'm going to go through a timeline. I want you to think about it as I say this. 2004, 2008, Bush is president. 2008, who gets in office? Obama. What happens in 2008? Housing crisis, financial crisis, gas, all that happens. It lasts for about 4 years. That's 2008, 2012. 2012, 2016, we have Obama. Stuff starts to get better. You understand? Starts to get a little bit better. Now, here's the part where everybody starts to say, I love life. 2016, 2020, Donald Trump is in office. The year you all say you love is 2016, right? Who was the previous president? Right. Now, here's the part. 2020, 2024. Who was the previous president? Does that make sense? That is what I be saying when I say the previous administration, their efforts affect the next administration. Keep that in mind when you go to the polls. Thank you.
I mean, well, I knew that the current president is cleaning up the messes of the previous president. I knew that.
Yeah,
Duh.
but a lot of people who don't know that. Hell, it's people who are in their 60s, 50s, and 40s who don't even know, the branches of government. Don't even know how government works. Don't know how it goes from president down to your alderman. They don't know the process of that. Like, and I keep telling people, yeah, you can have a Democratic president, but if we don't go vote for our senators and stuff like that, that Democratic president now has a house full of Republican senators. He's not going to be able to get any bill passed, and vice versa. If a Republican president has majority Democratic senators, it's going to be hard for that Republican president to be able to get bills passed in his favor. So I feel like the government or whoever's in that time president at that time, things are only going to work their way if the Senate is basically majority, the Senate and the House, whatever, it's all majority Republicans. That's the only way that it's going to work for them and for them to get their way. Now,
I agree.
a lot of people go and they only vote for. I know people who say they only vote in the presidential elections. To me, whoever the president is really does not matter, because at the end of the day, your senators and then your Supreme Court people basically make the rules, the law of the land anyway. Our president is really just our puppet, really, that we just go send off to go make our country look good. Like, hey, go over here and make an appearance, bitch. Like, that's basically what the appearance. I'm just saying. So, like I said, and make sure you go vote for your senators and stuff like that, because all that it matters. It really matters. If Joe Biden would have had majority Democratic senators in office, things would be totally different right now. There would be so many laws that would benefit middle class America that would be passed right now. And well, I would say benefit the middle class America, because I feel like a lot of the bills that he passed benefits more of the lower class Americans. Which is really hard for me for this, like when I said between voting for these super presidential elections, just because I don't like Donald Trump personally, I'm just not going to vote for him, which is why Joe Biden is getting my vote. But to be honest, if there was somebody one younger and then actually had an idea where it doesn't just like, oh, we're going to be just for the rich, like if there's a Republican candidate who said, hey, I got a plan for both the lower, middle, and rich class to try to branch these things together and run this country like the way how it should be, then I would actually vote it for that person over Joe Biden. Because to be honest, like I'm not saying Joe Biden has not done anything in general. Like I like the fact that he has lowered the cost of healthcare. I like the fact that he's lowered the cost of insulin or when it comes to inhalers. I like the fact that he did the student loan forgiveness thing. That helped middle class people. He took off a chunk of their debt, not really completely wipe it out, but took off that chunk. That chunk that he took off will help them a lot in the long run. So I'm not saying it's not stuff that he hasn't done. It's just the fact that the most of the stuff that he has done was for the beneficial of lower class people. And these are probably the same lower class people who don't even go vote in presidential elections.
Well, he tried to get rid of student loan debt, but remember he got pushback.
Yeah, he got pushed back, but then he found another loophole to do
He
it
did.
anyway.
Yeah,
Which he
so
did.
instead of a mass wipeout, he's been doing it in stages, which
Yeah.
is smart.
So like I said, like I'm not saying Joe Biden is the perfect candidate, but like I said, the little freedoms that we do have, because like I said, as a black male, we don't really have the freedoms that a lot of people look at us and say, "Oh, you guys," no, we don't have them. It's not there. We can't. We can't walk the streets without being nervous about a police officer pulling us over, and if during that traffic stop, am I going to get killed or go home to see my family again? Like that's something that you have to worry about as a black person in general. We always got to deal with racism. We always got to deal with hate. And there's so much that we got to deal with. Like, yes, we're free, but at the same time, we're not free because we have this whole other race of people and this whole party that's still trying to repress a group of people.
Yes, I
So,
agree.
so like I said, like pretty much this whole election to me is just I'm picking the lesser of the evil, basically.
I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, it's everything you said, and I didn't vote for Trump the first time, and I'm not gonna vote for him again because I mean, it's to me, it's plain to see. Like, so people still don't understand that the stimulus checks are part of the reason why we have inflation. You know what I'm saying? And then I still hear people talking about well, I'm gonna vote for him because he gave us the stimmies. First of all, like if y'all was excited over $1,000 check, I I don't even know what to say. And then some people didn't even get $1,000 because it was based upon how many dependents you filed for on your taxes, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So for y'all to think that's some type of money, it really wasn't. I mean, during the whole shutdown, I still had to work full time. I still went to work, so I still had income. You know what I'm saying? And I
Mm-hmm.
understand a lot of, so the PPP loans I agree with for small businesses because I feel like they were or would be hurt the most because they were forced to close their doors. And if they didn't have like an online way to order things, so on and so forth, then yeah, their companies would go under. So I understand that part. But as far as giving people stimulus checks, but and this is like no shade, right? So you got people that, right? Say I got three kids, right? And if I made $12,000 in a year with three kids, and I was on government programs and stuff like that, I was gonna get what I think it was like $1,200 a kid or something like that,
I think so.
or no, three, four. It was like $300 or $400 for each dependent, or something like that, right? That you
I
found on
think
your
it was.
taxes.
Yeah, I think it was between I believe it was between 300 to 500 per dependent or something like that. Yeah.
Right. So I got a little over $1,000. I do remember that, but at the same time, like that wasn't even one of my paychecks. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just
And
like,
and that stimulus check, those stimulus check, it was nothing but a loan that we all have. Well, people who work have to pay back.
correct, correct. So, but then you got people that don't really work, and then they file fire dependents. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, so yes, I understand. Like, oh, I got basically another tax return is the way they were looking at it. But I mean, in reality, that is not the way that you should want to live, right? So that's the problem, and that's why middle class is getting crushed in between trying to pay. We're basically paying for both sides.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So just to base your vote off of that, to me, it's a little shallow, and I would like for people to dive a little bit deeper or to understand, what it is that each candidate is really actually backing, and then going back to look and see what was actually accomplished. And so they both had previous presidencies, right? Then do a compare and contrast and see what actually what what I'm saying occurred during those presidencies.
And right,
Because
and like you said, Joe Biden, he served under a growing, flourishing presidency. He wasn't the president, but he was the vice president of this country that had a booming economy when he left office. And then when Trump, like it was like everything that they did, it's gone. It don't exist no more.
yep, yep, he was vice president for 8 years.
Exactly. So you're
You know
not
what
going
I'm
to tell
saying?
me
And
somebody
so
who was vice president from 8 years and went through a whole entire 8 years with another president who had no scandals, no type of hiccups, no nothing during that presidency. And you don't try to tell me that this man don't has what it takes to run the country for the next 4 years. I get it. He's 86 years old. And then think about it, if something was to happen to Joe, knock on wood, but if something was to happen to Joe, hopefully nothing does. But I do have faith that Kamala Harris being able to run this country.
and I think that's another problem that the Republican Party has. If
They don't
something
want a woman
happens,
president.
exactly, a black woman president,
Right.
right? That's two things that they probably don't want to see right now. We already had a black man as president, right, for the first time in our lives, and I was glad I was alive to witness that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then it would turn around and it would be a black woman as president. And if you know a black woman, you already know. And I know a lot of people, like we don't really see her. What has she been doing? And I keep, at first I felt that way, but then I'm like, she could be sitting back and cooking something up, and
And
y'all don't
it's
know that about.
crazy because I've been hearing people say that, like, what's she been doing? And then when I actually went back, like, she is the one that's like out. She's not really sitting in DC on her ass doing nothing. Like, she is the one that's traveling. Like, she has been to Wisconsin, I believe, more than what Joe Biden has been coming to Wisconsin. So she's been the one out there doing a lot of the groundwork and a lot of the legwork for Joe Biden to get these bills passed, get the policies passed, to get people to go vote she's been the one on the ground doing that. That's been all her.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. So it's like I feel like she can be a lot of, sitting in on these meetings that they hold with the cabinet, et cetera, et cetera. The one, you know what I'm saying, kind of help pulling ideas together. Since she got boots on the ground, she has firsthand knowledge of what's actually happening in the country while everybody is sitting at the desk. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So she can come back to them and be like, hey, this is what I saw. This could be a really big problem. I have a resolution. How do we get to that? Hey, this is, you know what I'm saying? So I
Right.
feel like yes. I feel like yes. So just because you don't see her in the limelight, holding press conferences or basically being fake, I would say, you know what I'm saying, for making for appearances sake, you don't know what it is that she got cooking up. And that's a black woman for you, right? So,
Right.
you know, I just don't understand why people are so against the notion of change. You know what I'm saying? So against the notion of change. It doesn't have to be a white man in office. It doesn't.
Right. And
If
I feel
if it
like
was,
if they do want a woman to be in office, they want it to be a white woman to be the first president of the United States.
yes, I agree. And that's not even something that they want to see, just because of how, you know what I'm saying? But it can be a Mexican American. It can be a Chinese American. It can be, you know what I'm saying? As long as you were born in the United States, you can run for a president. You know what I'm saying? So
Hmm.
it can come, the president can come from any, background. And I would love to see that diversity and inclusion into the top office in the land. You know what I'm saying? Because when you think of different cultures, they come with different types of experiences that previous presidents probably didn't have. You never know how it is that they might run this country. It might be for the better.
And you're right. And then and like I said, and then I feel like when it comes to when so say like Joe Biden is trying to put checks and balances or put laws in place or trying to come up with programs that would benefit minorities. I feel like that was her in his ear. Hey Joe, I think we should do this. Hey Joe, I think this program would be a great idea. I feel like those things were her.
Yeah, quite possibly. You know what I'm saying? And if it was her, it sounds like she's being humble and modest and not wanting to take. Oh, you got to tell everybody that was my idea. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? So I just, I want people to have a little bit of faith and stop just jumping to conclusions and making assumptions about a lot of different things. Like, do your fact checking. Don't just assume that nothing is being done. And I mean, the stuff that Joe Biden has accomplished, I feel like those are great things. He put a cap on a lot of different things, and the stuff he talking about doing for the next term, like making childcare affordable. Whoa, I would love to see that. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? I pay out of pocket for childcare. I had to pay my daycare provider today. You know what I'm saying? So things like that matter to the middle class. So he understand, the whole loan thing. That's mostly a middle class thing. You know what I'm saying? So you fix the middle class, you help heal the country.
Mm-hmm.
You know what
Plain and
I'm saying? The
simple.
middle class is it's the catalyst.
Right. Well, that's all I have today for the debate. I did manage to find some videos last minute. I think it's only like three of them. So yeah, but once like Tina said, we all need to make the important decisions. Yeah, we all don't like Joe Biden is really old. He has this. I don't feel like his stutter should really bother people. Like there's people who stutter. Like I don't understand why
I know
people
I
find
know somebody that's
that's
I know
offensive.
somebody that's 50 years younger than him and has a stutter. What are we talking about?
Exactly. I mean, like, and then it's like, oh, he's seeing confused all the time. I was like, well, he knew Donald Trump, like that clip I showed earlier with at the debate when Donald Trump started talking about black jobs. Like Joe Biden knew that it was about to be some bullshit, and when how Donald Trump turned and looked over at Donald Trump like he about to say some bullshit. Like he's very aware of what's going on. He is not as confused as people think
Yeah.
he is.
Just because you think somebody is not a great orator, which is what Donald Trump is, right? He talks a good game, don't mean that they're not able to perform their job. It's a lot of great people. There's a lot of people that can perform their jobs, but if they're not good at public speaking, I know that's one thing that what I'm saying that comes with that job. But he don't seem to be scared to talk to his people. You know what I'm saying? Like all of that stuff. I hope I make it to 86 years old. And then another thing, I wish they was try to stop using his son as ammo against him. His son is a grown ass man. He made his choices.
Who was probably in his 50s himself, 50s, 60s himself. So I was like, oh, my life I went on a spiral, because it was too far after when the brother had died, and now I'm doing drugs, and I went and bought a gun while I was high, like, but when I went and bought, no, he wasn't even high. He said he was clean or something. He went to a rehab program when he went to go body, but it's like y'all worried about this man who daddy is the president of the United States owning a gun while he was high. But we're not. But you're okay with a random person going to go buy an assault rifle or whatever, automatic gun, and then going to go do a mass. But You're not worried about somebody getting a hold of these automatic guns, going to do a mass shooting. We're not worried about that. We're worried about the president's son buying a gun on drugs. Is what
We're not worried about a previous president that has multiple felony counts that is again running for a president. You know what I'm saying? We're not worried about that. What I'd like to see was Joe Biden issued a whole statement about his son and how much he loves him and how much they're going to continue to support him on this journey and how he needs to face what he did. Like he wants his son to be held accountable for his actions. And okay, so he's still being a father at 86 years old. You get what I'm saying? Like you don't stop being a parent. So he's trying to help and back his son. He didn't shy away from the whole situation. He he faced it up front. They didn't lie about it. No, nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like it's front and center. Okay, but how many other people in this world has to come to the same things that his son didn't? Like you said, his son older than me. What are we talking about? What are we really talking about? That man had to have been born in the early 70s, what? Something like that. Late 60s.
That's the early 70s, late 60s, yeah.
Come on now. Some of these people that he old enough to be your parent. You get what I'm saying? Like, come on now. We're not finna do that. And I'm not making excuses or anything like that. That's just being truthful and honest. Like I'm gonna put it out here. Every family got one.
So Hunter Biden is 54 years old. He was born February 4th, 1970.
Now he got my same birthday. That's my birthday.
So
that man was sick of people. That's
So I'm like, at this point, it's just like, why do we care about, like, how about we just care more about getting this country back in order?
Exactly. That's all I want.
After a pandemic that lasted a month.
And killed a lot of people.
Right. Like, it was like we literally shut down for a month. And it was like after that month, like, oh, we're just going to have you guys stand apart. We're going to go back to this, but everybody just stay apart from each other. I'm like, this is stupid.
That messed up the whole economy. That right there messed up the entire economy.
And the more crazy part, like Tina said, me and her were considered essential employees and had to still continue to show up to work every single day, not knowing if you're gonna catch this, not knowing what's going to even happen. It's a lot. Like, I feel like as healthcare providers, at the end of the what they call it, pandemic, we should have got some type of bonus check or something for working during the pandemic. Like we should have got
Hell, they had COVID pay, but I
yeah,
never
where's
took
the
part.
we got I never
No,
got COVID paid.
I was never at home because of COVID. I wasn't at
That's
home because of COVID.
Yes, I never received any COVID pay. Even though I worked in a building where a lot of people had COVID, we didn't get hazardous pay. We didn't get nothing during that whole
That's
entire
what I'm
thing,
saying.
and I still have to show up to work every single day,
Every
whether
day,
every single day, and
every
have to
day,
deal with
every
that.
single day.
Like we were stuck in like we would have to wear a mask every day. Like y'all don't understand. Like working inside of a healthcare facility and have to wear a fucking mask all day long.
Bruh,
Like
high,
it's
and I wear glasses. Couldn't see past in my glasses. Had to take my glasses off. Not weren't I got small children. Just wondering if I was gonna bring it home. Thank the Lord. No, nobody in my house caught COVID.
right.
You know what I'm saying? So it was a lot of just being exposed and going in, and it was a lot of uncertainty. But again, this is not the first time some type of virus floated around in recent history. Eh, We didn't shut the country down.
Mm-mm.
Wait, Obama didn't shut the country down. What was it?
That's
Was it the
because
swine
what
flu?
Ebola,
That too. Like,
Ebola
come
and the
on
swine
now.
flu, and we had and the swine flu and the bird flu and all that other kind of stuff that
Yep.
was going on, and
Mm-hmm.
and like I said, we did shut the country down. And the thing about it is, Obama put a task force in place so that in case something like this happened in the future, that the country will be prepared for it and be able to combat what's going on. But then we get an idiot president in office who basically don't like black people and don't like anything that Obama did, who disbanded
Didn't
that
he get
task
rid of the
force.
task? Yep,
Yeah.
he got rid of the
So he
task
got rid of
force.
the task force. So then when this whole outbreak happened, the country wasn't prepared for it. We didn't have PPE. We didn't have, what was we low on? I think it was like it was low on blood. They did a
Yeah.
lot of people donate plasma because they figured out plasma was something that can help with treating COVID. So it was a lot of things that we
Yeah.
didn't have in place for when this pandemic hit. And it was, like I said, it was that previous administration's fault that it happened.
And then just the blowback from COVID is not just financial, it was also mental, right? Because people were locked, shut in, right? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? They were worrying about their loved ones that were really sick. My father was really sick during COVID. You know what I'm saying? So it's just stuff like that. You can't
Yeah,
get
like
on a
people,
plane to go. You know what I'm saying?
you
Like you
would like
can't
you
get
couldn't
on
even
a
go in
plane
a
to go see
nursing
your loved
like
ones.
if you had loved ones in a nursing home, you couldn't go inside the nursing home to visit them
Nope.
because they were scared of them COVID, and then by them being so vulnerable, it's easier for them to pass away from it.
Yeah, yeah. When my father was in the hospital, that it was a limitation on how many people could visit him. You know what I'm saying? Just
And
things like that.
even even with my own family, like my siblings, me and my siblings, we got vaccinated, but it was a lot of people in my family who didn't believe. I don't believe in the vaccine. They just trying to poison you and all this other kind of stuff. So then it got to a point where they were upset because they didn't get invited to certain family get-togethers because they was not vaccinated, and they were upset about that. And then the crazy part about it is one of the family members, it's the same one who don't believe in going to a dentist, don't go to an eye doctor. You like even so like even though Tina nags me when when I know it's time for me to go and like when I'm sick and I need to go see somebody, and Tina have to nag me to go, but I eventually go when I know I'm sick and need to go see somebody. Like at some point, I know I need to go see somebody, and like
That's
so,
my
like
job. I'm advocating for your health.
so then I like with them it's like the only time they're gonna go see somebody if they're in some type of pain or it's just at a point where they have to go to an emergency room. Other than that, like they're not going to do anything like if you I can just only imagine how the inside of their mouths are for not
Not going to
going
the
to
dentist.
I feel like making a dentist appointment now.
On what though? I need to make one for my kids too,
Let me go get this good
and my
cleaning
and
done.
myself.
Like, let me go get this good cleaning done. But yeah, like people we do better in this whole pandemic. Just do better. Just do better. Um,
Yes.
so I could get into these clips. They are some short clips, and then I guess we could do final thoughts and wrap up the show for today. So let's head into the clips. Here we go.
Hey, Daddy.
What's up?
What are we doing for dinner?
Wahlburgers.
I was talking to him.
You call him Daddy?
What did you say?
No, I'm
I'm sorry.
Okay, first of all, real daddy was fine.
Right. But the fact
He
that
didn't look old enough to be nobody daddy.
the fact that he told his daughter's wife, or I'm not saying daughter's wife, the daughter's husband or boyfriend that he should leave her for calling him daddy.
Yeah, that's something I can't do. I'm sorry, that ain't even
Like
my
why would
cup
you
of tea. I'm
why would
sorry.
you call your boyfriend or husband daddy
Yeah,
while your
it's just
dad's in
creepy
the
to
same
me.
room? Like
That's
yeah.
real. That's just no.
All
Mm-mm.
right, let's move on to the next one.
Watch this. In this video, we learn an important lesson. When you do bad, there's some bad coming to you.
Let me get that.
First come, first serve!
Somebody just stole my car while I was trying to steal your package. You can call the police. Oh, damn it. Come on, woman.
Listen, just know this is how bad and this is how evil works. The moment that you set the intention to do something bad and the moment that you put something bad into action, that bad is coming right back to you, sometimes faster than you expect. So this lady hopped out to try to steal a package from somebody's porch, and then somebody got to the package before she did, and then after they got the package, they stole her car because she left the door. Yo. Oh my goodness.
That looked like a Milwaukee, Wisconsin thing.
But the fact that she rang the doorbell and the person
Like they was
door,
supposed you was committing a crime, ma'am.
like why would I help you? You just tried to steal my package. Like she
With a whole
said,
ski mask on.
I was trying to steal your package. Somebody stole your package before me. And they stole it. I cannot.
I can't. I
cannot.
I can't stand porch pirates. Can't.
I'm so grateful for an indoor porch. I swear to God, I am. Oh, okay. Here's the next one. Oh wait, this one is actually a story. I have got to talk about it. I guess we're gonna play it. Well, no, I played the other clip, then the story. Here we go.
Babe, I'm sorry I scratched your new tires on your truck. Babe.
For one, it's bad enough that you curbed the new wheels on my truck. As in, I'm sitting here and I can see the 6-inch scuff mark all the way up. Okay?
It's not that bad.
It's not the tire. You didn't hurt the tire. You don't hurt tires, babe. You scratched the brand new wheels.
It's still the tire. And I'm sorry.
I still can't believe you did that. The one time I let you drive it. Man, I want to drive the new truck. I want to sit in the new truck. And what do? You literally ruin a...
Babe, can you just look at me for 1 second?
I swear. What?
1 second.
What? Yeah.
I said I'm sorry for scratching your tires.
What? It's okay. We'll buff it out. We'll buff it out. Yeah. We'll just buff it out. Come on. We'll do apologies in the bedroom now. Come on.
Not apologies in the pantry.
Oh, the fact that he was having this whole rant while she was standing there naked. She knew what to do to get him like, damn,
She did.
I done fucked up his truck. I'm gonna have to give him some tonight so he won't be pissed at me.
He gonna be all right. Feed him a nice meal afterwards. He'll be good and sleep.
Right. Oh, okay. You got a last clip about a porn star, so here we go.
Huge gay bombshell just dropped. Austin Wolf, one of the most notorious gay adult performers, was just arrested for possession and distribution of CP. The entertainer, whose legal name is Justin Smith, exchanged hundreds of photos and videos with another person on Telegram. That person's phone was seized by the FBI as part of another investigation, but then they were able to confirm that the person he was talking to was indeed Austin Wolf. The entertainer is known for producing a lot of content organized around age play or the sort of barely legal fantasy, and people have said for a long time that they got kind of suspicious vibes from him. Horrifyingly, the media that he was found to have goes far, far beyond that line, though.
Now you said you had a story, right?
Yeah, that was the story.
Oh my goodness. I can't say that I'm not surprised.
I know, right?
I'm not surprised.
Especially with that being a porn star, like, and then most of his content was based upon, the fantasy that I'm having sex with a barely
legal
person, and now here all of a sudden now he's being charged with child sex, whatever crimes and stuff. A mess.
You know how I feel about the whole barely legal and you like 20 years older than them deal. You know how I feel about that.
Right. Well, I'm hotter than the jalapeno coochie. Let's head into final thoughts. I'm hotter than the jalapeno coochie under all these lights right now. So here we go.
Of course I'm first because he always do me like that. Okay, so final thoughts for today. So this podcast episode today was basically about the debate. So I'm just gonna fall back on that. The election is coming around the corner, right? So I want everybody to at least take it seriously, to really do your homework, to make an informed decision, okay? Because you think that it'll just be 4 years this person is in office, but that 4 years can be a long time as in terms of policies put into place, into new laws being put into place, into as in old laws being demolished or reinstated, and these things do or can drastically change your lifestyle as you know it now. So you got to think about that. You got to weigh the pros and cons of each candidate, and then think about what it is of you and the lifestyle of your family and your kids and your kids, right? Because it's a trickle down effect when it comes to government. Okay, takes a really long time to change things in the government, and I feel like once it's going in a good direction, we don't need to regress backwards, right? And then this constant tug of war between what party think it's best for the country when they are, some people can be very radical in their ideas. It can just be based on a lot of different things, but I just want you to think about what's best for you and your family in the long run, not temporary, not short term. Don't think it's only 4 years, because it's not. Whatever is done within a president's term has the potential to have an impact on the country for decades. And that's my final thought.
4 more years. 4 more years. And I'm saying,
Oh my God.
Joe Biden. We need 4 more years of Joe Biden. Next thing, we need to be done is we need better rent control. Some needs to be done about rent control. Some needs to be done about car insurance. Some needs to be done about these property taxes. Something needs to be done about the price of food. So hopefully we can see all these things happen within the next 4 years if we get 4 more years of Biden. As of right now, I don't see a lot of laws and stuff getting passed, important laws or bills getting passed right now, just on the simple fact that we're so close to the election in November. And, the Senate and everybody, they're going to try to hold off as long as they can on trying to get policies stuff passed. So make sure you go out and vote. Make sure you make the right decision when you go out and vote because your vote matters. I don't care what nobody ever tells you. I hate when people say your vote, my vote doesn't count. It don't matter if I vote. It does matter. Your vote does count. Please make sure that you go out and vote and make your voice heard. And that was my final thought.
Yay! Well said.
All right. Well, with that being said, this has been Same Cast, Different Day podcast. I'm Martel Roland.
And I'm Tina Marie.
Don't forget to head over to repsports.com and you get your discounts and habits365.com use your discount. She's showing the thing that I had got her. I think it was for Christmas. I'm not sure. I drank a lot of Camber when I bought the stuff. But and make sure that you head over to our merch store. You can get the link to that through direct.me/Samecast Different Day Podcast. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. We hope that we was as informative as possible when it comes to this what's going on with the economy and voting and election and stuff like that. So we hope you enjoyed it. So once again, thank you all for tuning in to this episode of Same Cast Different Day Podcast, and we'll see you all on the next one.
Bye.